So we want to welcome you guys to the 9th and 10th grade family night. So we're going to cover topics that we think are important for 9th and 10th grade students and their families to know. So for questions, we are not going to be monitoring the chat, so please use the Q&A feature at the bottom. Again, we're not going to be monitoring the chat, so if you have any questions, please use the chat moving forward. Tonight's agenda is as follows. We're going to give you an overview, introduce you to the Branham counseling team. That way you can kind of get to know who your student's counselor is if you haven't gotten the chance to meet them already. We're going to go over academic requirements. In this section, we're going to go over graduation requirements, A to G, 4-year plan, and then 9th and 10th grade goals. We're going to also cover a few more topics in this area. Then we're going to move on to the transition to high school. So transition strategies, tutorial. We're going to encourage you and your student to get involved. We're going to go over some of the ways you can get involved. We'll review online databases that we use at Branham and that are really important for you to start using these first 2 years at Branham High School. And then we'll end with some Branham supports. And Patty, you are muted.
Sorry about that. Here is our Branham High School counseling team. We have Samantha Hickey Bloom. She provides services to students whose last name starts with an A all the way to CL. Then we have Isabel Magana, who provides services to students with last names CO to G. Juan Lopez, students with the last names H through LI. Danielle Morella provides services to students with the last names LL to O. Bridget Boyle provides services to students with the last name P all the way to SM. And I am Patty Vongsa. I provide services to students with the last name SO to Z. Okay. So this is our graduation requirements. This is just a review. Please note that students need 220 credits to graduate from our high school. Graduation requirements. So this is the breakdown. Each class is worth 5 credits for each semester. That means that each class is worth 10 credits each year. One semester is equal to 30 credits, and 1 year is equal to 60 credits. Your credit goal by the end of 9th grade, students should have about 60 credits. By the end of 10th grade, students should have about 120. And then by the end of 11th grade, they should have about 280. And at the end of 12th grade, they should have at least 220 credits to graduate. Just a reminder, like I said again, students need 220 credits total to graduate from Branham High School. And this is our A through G requirements to get into a 4-year college. Need 2 years of history, 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 2 years of laboratory science, 1 physical, 1 biological, 2 years of the same language other than English, 1 year of visual performing arts, and 1 year of college prep elective. All right. For the 4-year plan, so sometime in March, counselors will meet with your students to, 1, review transcript to make sure that they are on track to graduate. 2, to create a plan, if needed, to get back on track to graduate on time. 3, to go over their course selection for the following school year, and also to create a 4-year outline of their classes that they will take at Branham High School. And last but not least, we'll discuss their post-secondary options.
So we want to bring to your attention some options that your students have. We have dual and we have concurrent enrollment. So We wanted to make sure this is brought to the attention of our sophomore families, and then also put on the radar of our 9th grade families. So for dual enrollment, you have to be 10th through 12th grade. Concurrent is 9th through 12th, so any student at Branham can take those classes. For dual enrollment, you earn credit. For high school, you earn college credit. And then we have the classes that you can take available on our website. The link right below where it says extra information dual enrollment, that will take you to our website that has all the additional dual enrollment information. Concurrent enrollment, like I said, any student at Branham can take a dual enrollment or a concurrent enrollment class. You don't earn high school credit, but you do earn college credit, which is great. And then any classes offered at any of the community colleges. And again, extra information can be found at that link. It is important to note that this is a college level class. They will treat you as a college level student. No matter the grade, it will go on your transcript. If you fail a dual enrollment class, it does get put on your transcript, especially with like withdrawals and things like that. It's important to note the deadlines for the class that you are taking at the college. Additionally, we wanted to share some additional programs. So first we have SVCTE, which is a really great program. They offer 23 courses, 19 of which are UC A to G approved. It is available for 11th and 12th grade students. There's 2 sessions. There's a morning session. You do have to get up extra early. So for our students that like to sleep in, maybe the afternoon option is better. It is Monday through Friday, and transportation is provided to and from Branham. We have some classes like culinary, which is a great option for students. We have auto mechanic, we have cybersecurity. There's a lot of different options. The big one right now is like in our public health. So we have like nursing, dental assisting. There's a lot of classes that are provided. We will have presentations in the spring semester. If you or your student is interested in SVCT, please don't hesitate to reach out to your counselor, attend meetings, ask questions. We're here to help. There's also shadow days for SVCTE. So if your student is interested in actually going to the campus and looking and observing what a class is, they get to participate in the class. They get to select 2 of the classes that they want to maybe try out, and they can sit in and be an actual student for the day. We also have middle college. So this is available for 11th and 12th grade students. You must have a minimum GPA of a 2.8. You complete college level courses while completing high school graduation requirements. You enroll in 2 high school classes as well as 6 to 11 college units per semester. This equates to about 2 to 3 college classes on top of the 2 high school classes that you sign up for. Again, additional information is at both of those links at the bottom of that slide.
So I'm going to answer one question that's in the Q&A. What is the goal of dual and concurrent enrollment? Dual and concurrent enrollment both is taking college level classes. Dual enrollment is going to give you both high school and college credit, whereas concurrent enrollment, students have to get approval from us to take the course. It does not go on their transcript. They only get college credit. But your benefits there is that your student is getting firsthand experience in a college course. So whether it's dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment, the dual enrollment, the nice part about that is that they are only with high school students and students from Campbell Union High School District. If your student takes a concurrent enrollment class, they are on the physical college campus. They are taking classes with college students, and they would have to get enrolled in that class if it is open. So hopefully I answered your question. But moving on with the 9th and 10th grade goals, a lot of the goals are going to be very similar. So I'm going to kind of start with those, and then I'll go with the ones that are kind of specific for each grade level. But for each grade level for 9th and 10th, we really want your students to get involved. So becoming a Bruin, especially 9th graders, right? Welcome to the Bruin family. It's really important that within that 9th grade and 10th grade year, you're starting to explore your interests. So whether that's maybe getting involved in a club or playing a sport or doing an activity on campus, or getting involved in your local community, those are things that you're wanting to start. And we really suggest this, especially if your students, their plan is to go off to a four-year college. You really want to be starting those activities, the clubs, the sports, or other enrichments in your 9th and 10th grade year, because the colleges are wanting to see longevity in those programs. So if you're only starting in junior or senior year, it's a little late at that point. Still benefits, but it's just late. What they want to see is that you've maybe been involved in those programs to 2 to 4 years. Now, we are not saying that your student has to do a whole bunch, like a laundry list of activities. They want to actually see a deep involvement in those activities. And so maybe your student is choosing 2 to 4 things that maybe they want to be involved in. So we have lots of things on our campus that they can get involved in, as well as they can look in the outside community. One other thing that is common between both grades is just basically keeping your grades up. Freshman year counts, sophomore year counts. We always get the misconception from students that freshman year does not count. It absolutely does. When they are applying, especially if they're looking at maybe private and out-of-state campuses, they actually take the GPA from 9th grade. Now, our system here with our CSU and our UC system, they take 10th and 11th grade for the GPA. However, they look at every class your child has taken. So every class they've taken, every grade that they've received, and that's why we say 9th grade will absolutely still matter. And so for both grades, you definitely want to make sure that hopefully you are striving for at least C's and above. When you get the D's and F's, that's when we would be working with your students on trying to either recover the credits or validate the grades so that they would remain eligible to eventually attend a four-year college if that is what they are looking for after high school. You can always check grades, and on a later present slide, I will go over how you can check their grades, but making sure that you are, definitely still looking at the grades on a weekly basis just to kind of see where your students are at. We will create four-year plans with both grade levels. Your students actually with us last year, if they are 10th graders, we created those four-year plans with them. The four-year plans are not set in stone. They can change every year. We talk about the different classes, their interests might change, so then their electives might change, or maybe they want to take an AP course instead of a non-level course. So we are always kind of adjusting those plans when we meet with your students one-on-one in the springtime. I would say sophomores are probably going to be late January, early February, and then our freshman class will probably be most likely closer to mid-February to March. But they will have that individual meeting with us, and we create that plan in Aries. We want both grade levels to ask for help. One of the big goals that we have as a counseling department and with the students that we're working with is to start advocating for what they need, so that when they leave us, when they go to college or they go into the workforce, whatever their post-secondary plan is going to be, they're able to talk to adults. They're able to have that conversation. They're able to ask for what they need. And so that is one of the goals that hopefully we will be working with each of your students on. And hopefully you can also reiterate that at home. Any kind of concerns that they're having in the class, asking, have you talked to your teacher? Should we have a meeting with the teacher, right? And really getting that support from them. And then also just using tutorial appropriately. All your students should be in a classroom that they have with one of their assigned teachers. But that time is really for getting that extra support. And one of the other things is preparing for finals. For those of you that are 9th graders, we do have finals in high school. So that is something that you would definitely want to be working with your teachers on. A lot of our teachers will do study guides, or, they'll kind of prep the students maybe a couple days prior to the final, but definitely kind of working on how they're studying within these next 6 to 10 weeks that we've got, kind of going over how they would study. So whether they're looking at notes, whether they might be having a study group, what's their way of studying that works for them. For 9th grade in particular, getting to know the campus. That's what we want you to start with. Hopefully your start for the first 6 weeks has been really great. You found all your classrooms within that first week, and that now you're starting to kind of familiarize yourself with the staff on campus, where things are located, and that you know where to go if you need support. They can always come to student services. That's where the counseling department is at, and any of us will help them. And then for 10th grade in particular, one of the things that we would be suggesting outside of everything that we've talked about thus far would be preparing for the PSAT. It's a practice test. It's not something that they like need to stress over or do a lot of practice prior. Typically, it's usually held for our sophomore class in March. And usually our district will cover for all of our sophomores to take it. So we'll be getting more information on that from Mr. Levy as things come out, who is one of our assistant principals. But definitely if it's something that you want to take, be on the lookout for information that will be sent out through Parent Square. But the PSAT is a practice test for the actual SAT that students would take in the spring of their junior year if they're potentially maybe looking at some private and out-of-state colleges that they want to apply for. In addition, for 10th graders, really starting that college and career research. We have a full-time college and career specialist that's located in room 7 on our campus, Miss Lou, and she works with all of our students on the campus. So I would highly suggest that your students maybe stop by, go check out the room. There's lots of information in there. She'll also host a lot of workshops, whether it's college visits coming out or just different workshops to help them kind of get through each year, and then especially workshops that help with the college application process. But just starting to kind of explore. Nothing has to be set in stone with what their college list might be, but just starting to kind of look and see what interests they might have. And we have one platform that I'll go over later that they can use to also help with that college and career research.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some strategies that will be helpful for your freshman and sophomore students to follow as they transition and continue with their high school career. First is selecting the classes that fit your interests and talents. So although the electives that the students take are more limited in choice during their freshman and sophomore year, junior and senior year is definitely the time to be intentional with the elective classes your student chooses to take. This will be the time to explore your passions, your interest, and take advantage of taking any classes that may be related to your future career or major if your student is already aware of it. And if your student feels ready, encourage them to challenge themselves to take any AP classes, do enrollment classes to prepare them for post-secondary education as well. Next strategy is getting help from trusted adults. Transitioning into high school as a freshman or meeting sophomore year responsibilities can definitely be stressful and overwhelming, but that is why we're here to support your student in any way that we can, whether that is checking in with a counselor, a teacher, or any other trusted adult here on campus. It is important that they communicate their needs or feelings to an adult so that we can provide them the support that they need. We have a lot of resources available here on campus, and we want them to take advantage of them, as that is the whole purpose of why we have these resources here for the students. So please encourage your students to find a trusted adult on campus and communicate with them regularly so that their needs can be met and we can be supported of whatever it is that they may be going through. Next helpful strategy is to have an overall good sleeping routine and schedule. Sleeping is so critical as it helps students stay focused, improve concentration, improve engagement in class. It will be counterintuitive for students to pull an all-nighter to complete an assignment or study for a test, since it will be impacting their academics the next day, maybe impacting their concentration or focus in class, and that same test that the student was studying for all night. We wouldn't want your students to have wasted all this time studying through an all-nighter if they're going to be too tired or unfocused to complete their test or assignments in class. Please encourage them to sleep for 7 to 8 hours. I know it is hard for even us adults to do that, but this will definitely make an impact on their overall well-being. And we want these students to be re-energized so that they can go ahead and focus on their classes and activities the next day. Lastly, having a good time management and study skills will make a significant impact on how students perform and complete classwork and tasks. Students should definitely be working on assignments that were assigned to them in class that day so that the assignments don't accumulate or pile up if they are to delay completing any of their work assigned. Having a schedule or a planner on how their evening may be organized so that they can complete any homework or assignments can be definitely useful for students and will keep them organized as well. If able, it also helps to have a dedicated room or a space for your students to organize their assignments and work on their homeworks. So that they just have the organized space dedicated in their home. We always recommend the students not study on their beds just because it does reduce students' focus, since most people tend to associate their beds with comfort and sleep. So whenever possible and if able, definitely have your student complete schoolwork at the kitchen table, at a desk, or anywhere they can set up their assignments and stay organized, and then just having that dedicated space for them. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about tutorial. Tutorial is actually one of my favorite things at Branham that offers to students because it is such a great resource for all students. It is an extra 80 to 120 minutes a week that is embedded in their schedule for students to get support from teachers. There are different ways that students can take advantage of tutorial time. The first example is with testing. Students can use the time to study for upcoming tests and make up for any missed exams as well. Maybe they were absent, or maybe they were not able to take it for whatever the reasons were. Teachers sometimes offer test retakes, so this is also the perfect opportunity to take advantage of that time and resources that the teachers were able to provide. The next example is to get general help from your teachers or your peers with your homework or any class assignments that you need to still work on or review. We actually have a club called Bruin to Bruin, which is a peer tutoring service offered to students if they need additional support in their classes. Students will be assigned a tutor who will be checking in on them on a regular basis and provide them with that academic support that they're needing. This is a great opportunity to not only connect with other students, maybe even make a friend, but also getting their academic needs met through tutoring as well. The third and fourth example is to get ahead with work and schedule meetings with counselors or other staff to support. Students can use this time to get ahead of upcoming assignments, homework, or any other tasks that they may need to complete, to just get ahead of the class, to get ahead of the work that they may need to complete in general. If it is the case that they're all caught up with all their academics, students can definitely use the time to schedule a meeting with counselors or with other staff to discuss any other questions that they may have or any concerns that they may have in general. With that being said, the main point that I want to emphasize about tutorial is that it is critical that students are being intentional with tutorial time and not just using the time to catch up with friends and hang out with them in one of their classes. Using tutorial wisely will definitely help your student be more successful in high school and reduce any stress or worry they may have about their workload. So please, please, please encourage your student to check in with their teachers or with a tutor during tutorial time. Okay, so part of what makes high school fun and exciting is that there's different opportunities and ways for students to get involved on campus, on and out of campus, and connect with their peers. Encourage your students to get involved in something they like or are passionate about through club, sports, and school events, or maybe even starting your own club if they can't find a club that they're interested in or they might be relating to. The added benefit of being involved, in addition to enjoying your time in high school through this participation, is that it will also help your student become a stronger candidate for any four-year universities that they may be interested in applying to in the future. Colleges definitely want to see that you're involved, whether in clubs or sports, from the beginning of your high school career, and that you're being consistent with your involvement. This means that it is not about how many different clubs you're a part of or how many different organizations you completed community service hours with, but rather it means being intentional with your participation in the club, sport, or any other extracurricular activity, and demonstrating how you're able to grow and contribute to the activity through your consistent participation. For athletics specifically, we have many sports in each of our season, fall, winter, and spring, that students can participate in. Again, this is another great way to further connect with the school community and connect with other students with the same interest. For sports PE, currently this year, students have to take 2 sports and pass the fitness exam to qualify taking sports PE. Application for sports PE will open in the springtime, and more information can be found on our school website. For community service, it is not a high school graduation requirement, but it is encouraged for students to complete to show their dedication to the community and those in need. Being able to demonstrate dedicated commitment to a community will also make your student a stronger candidate when applying to a four-year university. If your student completes any hours, please just make sure that they're keeping track of it for college application, as if they're starting right now, they will need it in the next 3 years when they're completing the application. And we don't want any of those records being lost, and all their dedicated time not being counted for in their application as well. Lastly, work experience is another way for students to connect with others and grow their leadership, communication, and social skills and overall responsibilities. If a student needs a work permit, they will need to check in with Ms. Liu, who is our college and career specialist. Students can also complete internship opportunities or shadowing experiences to explore their interests and attain knowledge and grow their skills. And just continue to expand on the skills that they currently have as an individual. Again, it's important that students explore their interests and passion through the different activities and clubs that we offer on campus. Our assistant principal, Mr. Savory, and our leadership teacher, Ms. Rainieri, oversee the activities that happen here at Branham. Please be on the lookout on Parent Square for any information that Mr. Savory sends out with the events happening on campus. Here we have a bit more information on our school's athletic programs. As a reminder, all sporting tickets are sold through GoFan and no cash is accepted at the entrance of the sporting games. If you have any questions or require more information about our athletics program, please check our school website or reach out to Mr. Jacobs, who is our athletics director.
Okay, and I am going to talk to you all about our online databases and what we use on how we communicate. So the first one is Canvas. That's going to be more for tracking the grades. So that's where all of our teachers are going to be putting in all of the grades that your students have received for their assignments, tests, projects, labs. You can actually click onto the class. You can see exactly the scores that your students are receiving for those assignments or projects or exams. And then following up with either your student or the teacher if there's any concern. They should be mostly up to date. Our teachers try to grade as quick as they can. I would say, if an assignment is submitted, typically our teachers are trying to do that within a 1 to 1.5 week period. And so you would be able to check those there. If any are missing, it actually does tell you that they're missing, or if an assignment was late. So it's very detailed in the information that it does give to you. We also will send out updates in our announcements. We actually have a BHS counseling Canvas classroom that your students were all invited to. So hopefully they've accepted that invitation. But that's how we will send out information on the family nights, our dual enrollment program, SVCTE, middle college. So it's definitely something that you want to make sure that your students are invited to and that they've accepted that invitation so that they're receiving those announcements as they come out. Do keep in mind that the following dates, we have them listed there for you for the grading periods and when the semester ends. We actually just ended the 6-week grading period this last Monday. And so for that, now students will have, the teachers will have a week to basically complete the grades, and you should have access to look at them in Aries, I believe the first week of October. We don't mail home the grades like we used to, and so you'd have access to see them through your Aries account. So the other one that we use is Aries, which is more of our student information system. So that's where you can see the 6-week grades, the 12-week grades, the semester grades. Just to remind everybody that the 6-week and the 12-week are more like progress grades. So if a student is not doing well, then I always kind of call them, it's your red flag grades or your warning grades. You have another 6 weeks to fix them. The ones that are going to go on your transcript for credit, that the colleges are going to see, if that's what your plan is for after high school, that's going to be those semester grades, and that's the ones ending in December and in June. We also use Aries for attendance. So if your student is not in class or they were late, that is how we would use and track whether or not your students are not in class. And then usually we're following up if it was an illness, right? You would want to call the attendance line and make sure that you've called that in if they were out sick, or right now with everybody still potentially getting COVID, you'd want to still call that in. We also have the transcripts are in Aries. When we go into the classrooms to visit for the freshman and the sophomore classes, freshman classes, we won't have transcripts yet because they haven't finished a semester yet. But when we do go in for the sophomore class visits, they will all receive a copy of their transcript. Students can always look in Aries as well to see a copy of their transcript, and then they can print that as well. And then you can also see their graduation status. One other platform that's very big for communication on our campus is Parent Square. That's how we will send out again for those family nights. Miss Schubert, our principal, sends out a lot of information through there. Activity sends out information through there. So pretty much anything that is happening on the Branham campus is going to go out through Parent Square. So you definitely want to make sure that you have it set up that you're receiving those notifications. And a lot of times it'll come out either as a post or it might come to your email. And then sometimes for us as counseling, we send out a caller for like our family night. So you might receive a phone call as well. And then the last one is Naviance, and that's where students can actually do that college and career exploration with Miss Lou in room 7. There are different kind of activities within Naviance. One of them is the Strengths Explorer. I think that that is great. They actually can answer, I believe it's 93 questions, but it only takes about 10 minutes to fill it out. And it'll actually tell them what their 3 strengths are. And so then they can use that knowing maybe they work well with others, or maybe they're super detail oriented. So kind of knowing that information. They can also do a career exploration as well, where they will again kind of answer some questions and it will give them particular kind of careers that fit that interest. So it gets them started in that research. And that will kind of help. So then that way in junior year, they're a little bit more focused on maybe looking at schools that might fit that. Now, we always say to students that even if you think of a major or a career that you're thinking of in freshman or sophomore year, junior year, or even senior year, they can always change. It is not set in stone. And so we really want students to just be open-minded. A lot of the careers and different majors where your students may be entering college maybe haven't even been created yet or exist yet. And so just kind of being open-minded with how the world is expanding.
All right, I'm going to talk about the Branham Wellness Center. So this is a center where students can access when they need to talk to someone or just kind of regulate their emotions before going back to class. Ms. H is our site wellness specialist. Some of the resources that are provided at the Wellness Center are anxiety and stress management, coping strategies and self-care, grief and loss, eating disorders, LGBTQIA+ support, and brief intervention. There are 2 counseling services that are provided at the Wellness Center. One is Cassie, which is for students, and then also Pacific Clinics, which is for students and their families. The last one is the community resources. We can refer to outside agencies such as the Bill Wilson Center. The Wellness Center staff would make that referral to outside agencies. And then we also have the school-wide outreach presentations.
So here are some additional resources. These are not the only resources we have, but our Branham High School counseling website, it is linked, it's hyperlinked. So once we post the slides on our website, you can go in and again, it'll take you to our resources and additional supports that we have. We also have the San Jose free tutoring. It was a great resource that Ms. Vongza shared with our team earlier this year. If you need additional support, they have a free tutoring program. And then we have additional resources found on our website. These are the QR codes. So the academic success, if you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to our website where we will be posting our recordings of this presentation along with all the other grade levels. We have important information, important documents, our contact information, a lot of resources about dual enrollment, concurrent, our different programs. That is typically where we encourage our families to check first for your questions because a lot of the questions can be answered there. And then we are more than happy to help support you as well. We have our mental health QR code. So if you want to scan that, that'll take you to our mental health website and just give you a little bit more information about the resources that we offer. And then finally, our college and career counseling website. That's where we post a lot of information on upcoming presentations from different colleges, our college and career fair that we recently had. Miss Liu is wonderful and she updates that website pretty frequently. So again, like as you're working throughout Branham, these are 3 really good resources for you to use. We want to leave you guys with our contact information. Again, these are our counselors with the alphabet, part of the alphabet that they serve in their email. This presentation and the recording, the slides and the recording will be available on our website, hopefully by no later than Friday. So if you guys want to check back there, if you guys need to refer to anything, we will have all this information for you. Thank you guys all for attending. We really appreciate you guys answering or asking questions in the Q&A. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any other questions. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but we will stay on to answer any last minute questions that you may have.